Okay, today we're going to take you through how we make our dog collars. And we have genuine leather dog collars. They're all one solid piece. A lot of the ones you buy in the store, you buy them and they split and they fall apart. They're leather and they add two pieces of leather together, they're going to fall apart. Mine are all one solid piece, same as the belts. So we're going to do one out of leather. I made a little one here. I've got a couple of samples here. The name on this one's name is Digger. I decided the one we're going to make for you today is going to be Dugger. So you digger and then you Dugger. Once it's been digged, it's been dug, so Dugger. You got it? Okay, so that's my theory. Anyways, getting into it here. These are some of the dog collars, again, I've made with the names on it. A very hot day it was when I made this one here. And it's called Hot Dog. And it's got flames on it. So they're one of the styles from my belts. And it's kind of neat when you can put your favorite friend, men's best friend, with the name on it. With the name on it there, you could also buy them a belt, and you have a belt that goes along with your dog collar, so they both strut down the street in style. Okay, anyways, today I'm going to show you how to make this, so let's get started on it. It's a little bit of a process. I've already cut the pieces of leather. It's in the strips that I get from the hides. If you followed through from the beginning, I mentioned how they're cut through my machine all in strips. Same belt strip that we use for our belts. So your dog is getting the same quality as the belts, which are the top quality. We're going to take this here. I'm going to quench this in water. As I mentioned, you want to make it a little bit malleable so the impression sticks in there. So we're going to do this. This is a fairly quick process to put the design into it. And then we have to put your lettering because you want to have that name for your special dog on there. So we're going to go over this way here. And I basically just quickly run it through this water. Again, it's not acid or anything. My fingers won't decay or anything like that because it's all solid water. H2O. You can drink it, but I wouldn't drink that because it's pretty slimy after being there for a while. So we won't do that. Here's the tip for it here. I'm going to put our Starburst tip on it. That's a good indication that's one of our belts when you receive one of these. Just going to put it through my machine. My machine, again, it puts thousands and thousands of pounds of pressure on it. I keep my fingers out from underneath it. If they're under there, if someone else was pulling, I'd be screaming. It's so much pressure. In fact, I want to put a little bit more pressure on that. I can also readjust it and put it back under and pull it down. We'll give it a couple of seconds to work in there. I'm going to push the handle back on this machine. It's a lot of pushing and pulling and grunting to get the design in here. If you zoom in on here, you're going to see the tip here right away. So I pull it off. There's my tip. There's the KK Custom Starburst tip. Now we're going to come back over into this area here. I might have to reach across for a second to grab my tip cutter. Yeah, it's got to be here somewhere. So you're right here, I think. This is good enough. This will do the trick. Slide my belt over in place here. I never want to hit on top of the concrete or the marble here because it would dull the tips of the blade. So you always want to be cutting into the plastic material here. So I'm just going to line this up here. And I need my tool to hit it, my maul. Now we've cut that out of there off the tip. So we have the beginning of the start of it here. I got to tighten something on my machine here in order to run my belt through so it doesn't fall off or stop working here. Okay, we're going to put the design into it first. And then from there, we're going to look at putting a name onto it. So I'm going to take it through my machine and line it up here. Set it up here so I get the impression into the belt. I got to get it to the right pressure. Again, thousands and thousands of pounds of pressure. I'm doing this in a couple of seconds as opposed to 3 weeks. So this machine here really speeds things up for me. I am going to just start it on by hand here so I get the start of the design here. This one here is going to be done with maple leaves in it. Hopefully it's a Canadian dog. I don't really have a dog, but this is going to be my display model. So Here I'm going to get it started here. If you want to get in close on the top of this here, you can see as it comes through. Might be, okay, here we go. We're going to start it and then hopefully I stop it in time. You see the design coming through here. Weeks of work done in seconds, and I got to stop that in time for the machine here. And that brings it through here. Okay, so now I can undo that. We've got our design in our belt here. The edges are extremely sharp on it, so I want to remove the sharp edges on this. So I'm going to find my edging tool here. We're going to take off these sharp edges, make it really nice and smooth. And I just have to find my sanding block. It's over here. We get a little clutter throughout the day as we do our projects, so you have to bear with it. If anybody really likes cleaning up, they're welcome to come over here and help me out from time to time, because I happen to be probably the worst at wanting to clean up, but nobody would really want to do that, so we'll forget about that idea. Anyways, we're going to continue along here, and I'm going to round off the edges. We're removing the sharp edges on the belt. We don't like sharp edges, and I'm sure your men's best friend don't care for them too much either. Same thing on the other side here. With this being quenched and everything, it's going to allow us to put the names on the belt or the dog collar just as easy. And if you can think of any idea for this, I could use it for my hair, to put hair on there, but yeah, I don't need hair. I need to be good at doing leather. So we've got the belt all set up. I really don't have a dog right now, so I don't really have to be a certain size. But what I want to do is figure out the length that I can make this, and we have to determine the center of it so that I can put the name in the belt as well. But to start out with, I want to figure out where I'm going to put my holes on it. So I have a little measurement here where I can figure out where my center hole is going to go. So we're going to follow me over here to my machine that punches my holes. I need a bigger shop, but this has to do for now. I'm just going to slide it under my machine here. And I really can't see where the hole was again. So there it is there. Okay, now I know where it is. I can stick it back underneath there again. I can punch the hole in the collar. And that's going to be my center hole for the collar. So with dog collars, I usually put 5 on each side. And I have 2 little teeth on the end that line up. You can see where it's lining up by the hole. And that more or less tells me how far apart to make these holes here. Third hole would be right here. And then on the other side of the center hole, I'm going to go 2 the other way. Again, I have the little guide on the edge where it's lining up by the hole. I can spread it across here. And I need 2 holes this way. That's giving me the holes in the belt here. We're going to head back over the other way, and I am going to work on the end of the belt. Well, we're going to make this one here about an 18-inch collar, I think. Let's make it 20 inches. I got a bit of extra leather to spare. So here I have to fold it over. And I've taken the measurement from the center hole, which is right here. That's our center hole on there. And we're going to make it 20 inches on here, as I mentioned. So where the curve of the belt is going to be on the other side, you can see that lines up with 20 there. And that's going to be my center mark of where the buckle is going to go into it here. I have to grab a little tool here to put the little slot where the buckle goes into it. And with that, I center it in the center of the belt. And I'm going to make a little noise here. That cuts out the center hole now for the buckle to go into. I have the roller buckles behind me, so I'll grab one of those in a couple of seconds. From here, I want to find out the center of the belt should be 10 inches. It's 20 inches to this from the center hole to the end of the belt. To find the name, I go 10 inches, and that'll be the center point of the name I'm going to put on the dog, which is going to be Duggar. So with this here, I line up the center hole with the center of my guiding ruler here to there, and I get 20 inches to make sure. From there, I count back on each side, and I get the 10-inch mark. I can put a little mark with my finger. It happens to be right in the center of that maple leaf there, so it works out kind of neat there. So from here, we're going to look at putting the name in it now. And I have the center point. The name Duggar, I got to hopefully learn to spell this right. I do have a lot of problems with spelling. That's why I usually have somebody look after my web page. I do believe it would be D-U-G and another G. I only have one G in here, so that becomes a problem. But I have a way to deal with that. And I just reach up on top. I take a little snippet here out of the Kleenex. And I find another letter that I'm not going to use. For example, the Z, because there's no Z in Duggar. Even I know that. Okay, but we put a little piece of Kleenex in there. So I know not to hit that one. And not put that mark inside the leather. Because if you do that, you're going to have to start your belt all over. So it can get costly. So that's my new way of doing it. So you go D-U-G, Z. No, not Z, but it's going to be the G filler. E for Echo, and R for Romeo. So I used to be a pilot. Okay, so we're all set there. I've got all the letters set up for me here. D-U-G, not really G, but a G, E, and R. So I think I got that right. And we're ready to put the name in there. So what I will do next, I have a nice little jig here, and it helps me keep everything straight. I can go from big, huge letters to small letters to medium letters. And I'm just going to make it so it doesn't slip on me there. We're going to line this up. So the center of it, I've got 3 letters on each side. So the center point would be in front of the 2 G's. And we're going to put the D-U. That's too small, so I have to open this up so it fits into the mold here. D-U-G. And if you zoom in really closely, you're going to see the little mark that I put with my nail. That's going to be the center. I probably should have done that a little lighter, but if I wouldn't have told you it's there, you probably wouldn't have noticed it. So this is going to be the other one there, the E and the R. Okay, so we have that in place. I will have to just reach over to this side here and get my little, I don't know what you'd call this here, this little thing to hit on anyways. So we're going to line this up here. I'm going to make a little bit of noise with each one. This is going to put an indent into it. It's not going to look very nice yet because my other machine is going to do the finishing on it. And again, thousands of pounds does a lot more than I can do by hand. So we'll see how this turns out here. And I'm going to start here by putting the D into it. I've got them all lined up. I line this up so they're all square on there. I can pull this in a little bit more. I'm ready to hit on there. Okay, now I got to watch I don't hit the fingers. And that, here we go. We're going to do a little bit of banging away, starting on this one here. Now, when I remove that, you can barely see it. The imprint's in there. It's going to allow the tool to fall into that spot. And when I press it in later on, it's going to be even more definite. I just need it so that it shows me where it's going to go and it falls into place. So now I'm going to do the U. I'm going to follow through with each of the letters here. So I'll try and do that fairly quickly so we can get into our next step, get the next step going here. Here's the G. It's going to be tricky after that because I have to move it over one, and I'll slide that one with, I'll show you right away here. Each time I'm making sure I put those letters back into those slots so they don't move on me. So now here where the G is, I don't have another G, so I'm going to slide the one with the filler over, and I'm going to put this right beside it. And where's the G? Actually, I'll find out where I put that. There's a DU. I lost the G. Oh, it was in my hand. I was reading. It looked like a D. But it is a G, so we're still good. I need glided. Let's put on my glasses. That's why. Signs of getting old. Okay, now I think I should give this up and go and be a comedian instead here. But anyways, I think I'll do a better job at this here somehow. I could do it when I'm not working maybe. Okay, anyways, here we go. Let's continue along here. That one doesn't fit in there because I took it out. Okay, here we put the G. We need the E and the R. And then we can make it look a lot better right away. An E and an R. The last letter here. You can see how ugly it's going to look, but we're going to make that look so much nicer within minutes here with my machine. So now I can take this one here with the Kleenex in it and throw that back into the basket. You can see very faintly, you can see Duggar in there. And you notice how it's pounding away like crazy. It was so hard to do it by hand, but my machine is going to make that come out like a rose. So let's head over to my machine over here. Take all my pieces out of here. Pretty, that rolls up to the height that I want. I'm going to set in, keep this on my machine. This is what I use specifically for that purpose. And we take one of the letters, we're starting with the R in this case because that's the one that's closest to it. I have to get the right height set up on here. And I roll it up to the right height. Again, this is all handmade. The gentleman I bought the business from. And he comes and tweaks my machines once in a while. It helps me out. I'm very proud of where I've taken the business from when he started. So now we're going to bring it on top of here. I'm going to put the letter style in there. I might come back and do that again. It's just a matter of how much pressure I want to put. Once I get it set perfectly, they're all going to be the same depth. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to lift it up. And we're going to see, I think I could go still a little heavier on that R. So we're going to go a little bit more pressure yet. I just wanted to have a peek on it and see how good it was going into it. Okay, there we go. This should be good when I do each of the letters. You're going to see the name really starting to pop as we do this. Once we get the colors into it, it's going to look so much nicer. Unfortunately, I don't think you guys want to stick around in my shop that long today. So we're going to more or less go through it pretty quickly, get the design in there. And that's about all we're going to do. The coloring is another part of the art to making these here. Leave that in for a second, and there, and then we'll continue along. You want to give it a couple of seconds to sit so that the letters stay in there good and snug. Tight. So there's you can see the ones that I've done and the ones I haven't done. The letter E, you can very faintly see it. When I slide this in, it falls right in and it sort of snaps right in there. In fact, I can take it and I can move it back and forth because it's catching, so I know it's in the right spot. I'll line this up in front of here. Bring it down. There's our E. There's the D coming out right away. One letter to go, and this is the one that we had to do 2 letters of. Here, so this one will just stay on, and I'll move it from one to the other. And we'll have the full name, and hopefully it'll come out saying Duggar when I'm finished. See how this is made to fit right into here. This one, before I had the machine, it was before I had the machine, I'd hit it with the other tool all the time, and it's mushroomed it out. So this is going to be a little tricky to fit in here. So I might have to let's try and push it in here without getting my fingers in the way. Ooh, that's really tight. Okay, that's just. So you always run into complications as you're doing things here. I'm just going to bring it back over to my table and try and set that in there properly. And with by for a second. There we go. They always say if there's a will, there's a way. So I had to find a way, and we got it. And here we go with the G's now. So the amount of pressure that I'm putting in here, there's no way that's going to come out of the design. See the last one more letter to go. It almost looks like it's like a Duggar, but now we're going to have a Duggar instead of a Duggar. So here we go. By the time we finish that, I've gone through my good workout. I don't need to run around the block or anything because I've already done my arm presses or arm curls or whatever you want to call them there. They're already in for the day. And there we go. We have Duggar now in there. And it blends right in with the design. It pops out. Once you get the colors in there, it is going to shine. You're going to have friends saying, where did you get that? And you can just tell them KK Custom Leather makes them. And you'll have the finest of quality. It's not going to split apart because there's no way you can pull the hide apart. It's a full hide. It's not 2 pieces of thin leather sewn together. Again, I don't use stitching on many of my products because that will split on you. This is solid. This is the real McCoy here. So there it is there. And if I come back to one of my belts again, if I can find one, I'll use this one here. I was trying to find my hot dog one that I showed you earlier, but I found it. See it there? See it off in the distance. So it was running across the prairies here. Here we go. And that's what, with a little bit of color, you can imagine how that is going to pop. And you're going to have a work of art that people can enjoy. You're going to enjoy walking your dog with that on there. Feeling proud. Look at my dog. He's nice. Nice to see you have a nice collar. And like I say, you've got this here. You want to get one for yourself. You could be walking together in style. And we make them. It's a masterpiece here. Another thing we can do. You like this here? It looks pretty good. But you want your dog to look tough and mean. Well, we can do that too. We can put these spikes in here. And these spikes here, I'll get the cameraman to hold on to those. I'm going to just see if I can go through some of the spikes there. I'm going to find a couple of the spikes here that I can show you the different styles I have. So those are pounded in. They're actually rivets. So once they're in, they're set, they stay. We have different styles of them here. And some might not exist anymore. I'm not too sure. They've come in different lengths, different sizes. Even a skull one. Those might not be around anymore. I picked them locally up at the Tandy Leather Factory here in Winnipeg, and I can install them. I can do a little bit of talk on that, which I'm not going to cover too much on it, but I can show you a difference and an idea of whether you should use them, whether you shouldn't use them, where these things are used the most. These are things I can put on your belt for you. So you can see with the different styles, if I put them on the belts, you can see what they would look like here. Let's just put them over here. It dresses it up a lot. So you can see how that dresses up. There's a couple of things to be aware of when you purchase something like this here. The purpose of these long ones as compared to, I was trying to find, I have another one somewhere. I don't have it here, but I have another one that is similar to this one here. Okay. First of all, these things here are very sharp. So if you have kids and stuff like that, you might not want to get anything too sharp. These are very long. You can notice the length compared to the other ones. The purpose of the length is if you're a hunter and you're in the bush and you're around, say, wolves and stuff like that, you might get a wolf that attacks your dog and goes to, usually they'll bite at the neck. These here spikes, they're so long when a wolf, or it could be a cat, it could be a jaguar or whatever, goes to bite at the dog, it punctures the wolf or the predator's mouth and makes that animal release. So that protects your dog. That's made for protection in the woods. So coming down to these ones now, I have ones that have a little bit of point. If you come really in close to these ones here, if you want to get something like that, it makes them look mean still, but it's not going to hurt anybody, especially if you have little kids. There's no tip on there. I can't hurt my finger on it. So that's one thing to be aware of, is the tip on it. Again, if you have really good furniture, you might want to be careful, because if the dog rubs up against it or something, you could get scratch marks in it. I don't want to be responsible for any of that. So the choices are there for you. These are things that we can do. There's different prices on the spikes and that, but we can prepare it for you so that you have the collar of your dreams. So I hope, again, I can work with you. These are very popular. We do lots of them, and hope you will come by someday and bring your best friend with you here and see what we can do for you. It's been nice showing you the demonstration of how it's made here.